Yeah, looks like it. We have another training session this afternoon, but Ben finished the game. We had to sub him all the time because he hasn't played much football, but he was fine after the game. And with the rest, they all went through the game, and they were able to do some bits yesterday and ready to train today.
Have you decided what you're going to do to fill that void left by Gabriel at centre-back with all the defenders available to you?
Yes, decided.
Are you going to tell us who that is?
No.
What do you need from your team to take on Real Madrid tomorrow night? A huge occasion. You rested some of your key players. Is that an indication that you think you need a special effort to get the result you want?
Be super convinced. 8 p.m. tomorrow night, 11 players, 60,000 people, really super convinced that we are ready to win and to beat them. That's the mindset that I want. The rest be the team that we've been over the last quarter of the season with all the up and downs and things that we have to deal with. Continue to that because that's our super strength.
And finally, Bukayo Saka came on at half-time, building up his minutes after coming back from injury. Is he fit enough to start the match tomorrow?
Well, he's in a much better place. Gradually we have built his minutes in the last 6 or 7 days. He's coped with that really well, and it's in a good place to be able to be used.
Gary, hello, Mikel.
Hi.
We can feel it. This press conference room is packed. You guys must feel it. What a night, Real Madrid in the Champions League. Is this why you came into football?
That's why I came into football. That's why I came into management, and especially to this football club. It's been 20 years since we had this type of game, and for us it's a great opportunity to build our own story, and this is what we're here for.
And you describe it as the beautiful part of the season. Is it one of the biggest nights, if not the biggest night in management for you personally?
100%. I mean, it's a joy to prepare the game, to look at them, just to look at the reaction of people and how we feel about ourselves coming to a game of that magnitude, the excitement around the club, the people. This is the stage that we want to be, where Arsenal has to be consistently, and we are very proud to be there and now be very ready tomorrow to deliver.
This is proper now, the latter stages with proper teams and in the competition. You need a lot to win the Champions League. You also need some luck. Real Madrid have had luck this season. Arsenal haven't really had any luck in anything this season. Are you due a bit?
Well, I think we deserve it, but we have to earn it, and we have to earn it again tomorrow evening. But we're going to put all the ingredients, everything that is in our hands to play the game that we want and to take the game in the direction that we want. And in order to achieve that as well, we're going to need our people playing every single ball with us, and that's going to make a huge difference because that's something that is really needed. At these stages, you need your home stadium to create a very, very special atmosphere to generate momentums. So let's go. I encourage everybody to go there tomorrow to play the game with us. Not to be there watching it, but to play the game with us.
Hi Mikel, how are you?
I'm very good.
How do you've got a team full of experienced players, but how do you convince them tomorrow to play the game and not the occasion?
I think they are convinced. If I have to convince them, I think we have a problem. It's the level of conviction, regardless what happens and any context that we have to play throughout this time. But they know exactly what they have to do.
When you're playing a team with so many household names, but your team's also got household names, how much do you try and impress upon your players? Don't worry about who's in the white shirt opposite you. Don't worry that it's Mbappe or Bellingham or whoever, Vinicius Junior or whoever. Just worry about yourselves and show them how good you are.
Well, there are things that we cannot control, which is what they are going to prepare or what they can do. We have to focus, and our energy has to be on that, understanding what pushes in our strengths, how we put it in our weakness, and the direction that we want to play in the game.
Finally, from me, obviously 2 legs, so this is the first half. The second half is away. How important is it that you go to Madrid with a lead? I mean, tomorrow you don't want to lose, obviously, but how important is it you actually win tomorrow and win well so you're set up for the second half?
Very important, but it will be just the first legs, as you mentioned. So obviously the intention of the team is very clear. What we want to achieve tomorrow, we're going to go for it.
That's okay.
August 2021, Martin Odegaard committed to a long-term contract with Arsenal after a loan spell with Real Madrid. How important has he been to shaping Mikel Arteta's mentality and leading your team through this period?
Well, I think it's very important for the football club because we recruited a player that fits every quality to deliver performances and the demands that we want, and then the person that is an exceptional representative of the values of this football club, our history, and obviously pivotal from where we were to where we are, the role that he's played and how much he has contributed to be playing where we are at the moment.
You grew up through La Masia, the Basque region where you come from. Is this the key test for you? Is this one of the biggest matches of your coaching career, the mantle of Real Madrid?
Well, it is one of the most special things. I mean, it's a competition that we're waiting for many, many years. The fact that we've only been twice at this stage in 15 years with the size of Arsenal Football Club tells you the difficulty of that. And we're going to, as I said, create our own story and go even further. And tomorrow is a beautiful opportunity to all of us.
Hi Miguel, wanted to ask you about Jurrien Timber. Is he fit enough to start? And you've placed him in so many different positions this season. What does it say about him as a player, and how great is it for you that he is so multifunctional?
Incredible. I mean, probably nobody realized the player that we signed till he stepped through that door and started to show every quality that he has on the human side again, because he's a leader. He had a really tough start, having a really difficult injury. Almost a year out, and then to do what he's been doing this season is just remarkable. As you mentioned, different position with different demands, always so consistent, and hopefully tomorrow he will be in the best condition to play the game.
Thank you.
Miguel,
Hi.
does an attack with Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham demand a special plan, or one of the best defences in Europe that you have is already for this battle?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with the individual quality that they have, especially when you put them in certain situations, you know the danger that you are facing. But that's the stages. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than that. That's why consistently they've been doing what they've been doing in this competition, is that they can create those moments. And when it comes to the biggest stage, individual performance, play can decide the games, are critical for your success, and obviously something that we have to prevent for sure.
James Athletic.
Hi Mikel, you
Hi.
mentioned how there maybe hasn't been a game like this for 20 years for Arsenal. Well, 20 years ago Arsenal played Real Madrid in the Champions League 2006. There were some similar circumstances, a lot of injuries for Arsenal at that time, a lot of unusual defence in some respects. Does that game serve as a reference for you at all, and can it be an inspiration for your players tomorrow night?
Well, it's an inspiration for sure, because as well that generation, what they achieved is what we want to achieve, certainly. Very different, 20 years, a long time in football, very different context. But the history is that, unfortunately, it's too far to be very relative to the situation that we are in. But there are things to take from there and be inspired for sure.
And for yourself, as a Spaniard, does Madrid, does this fixture have like a special significance for you? Your history, of course, with Barcelona as well. I mean, it must mean a lot to you.
It does mean, obviously, and it's a club that has set new standards in world football. That's what they've done it more than anybody else. So that's an inspiration from any manager, any club. This is where we want to be. This is where we want to belong. And these opportunities have to be taken in order to go in that direction.
James, ESPN.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Obviously, last season was the first time in, I think it was 14 years, that you got to the Champions League quarter-finals. How do you think the team's developed since then? Do you think they're in a better place mentally to cope with the pressure of this kind of game now?
I think we are, and you know, building those experiences is something necessary. That's why I said that we have to build our own story, because, as you said, there is a massive gap there of so many years when nothing has happened in this football club in relation to European competitions, and we need to change that, and we need to change that quickly.
Do you think, when you sort of look back on that Bayern tie, do you feel the team didn't maybe express themselves as they could have done because of the occasion, and that they will learn from that this time?
Especially moments in the second leg, because there were moments in the first leg, especially in the first half, where we absolutely had them, and we have to utilize those moments, be ruthless, and you have to put the game to bed, and we didn't. And on top of that, we gave them 2 goals, and we make life much more difficult for us on the return leg in Munich.
Okay, guys, we'll take 2 more questions in English before we move to Spanish questions. First, go to Simon.
Mikel,
Hi.
just on Real Madrid, they have this sort of aura in the Champions League around pedigree, being able to win games. How psychologically do you prepare the players
But that's the history, and they have earned that, you know. That's because the mindset that they have. So you can't ignore that. That's a fact. I don't want to be talking about it because we all know about it. So let's talk about what we have to build and what we have to do, and how we can feel inspired as well from these occasions, and just as well look at what we do, and the fact that they haven't been successful all the time, because it's impossible. So from 20 times, maybe you win 5. That means that you haven't won the rest of the 15. So it's very difficult to do it. And we're in a position that we have competed against any team in the last 2 years that we have faced. So we can do it again.
Okay, Tom, football London.
Hi Mikel, I'll take you back just briefly to Eindhoven. When we were watching the players warm up, it was a stadium full of people shouting for their team in a big game. Do you dream of the Emirates being a place tomorrow night where your players are just, not before they're playing, but warming up and also having that type of atmosphere?
I hope. I encourage them to come very early to the warm-up and create those nights that we haven't lived many of those at the Emirates. So that's an opportunity again. When we have built history, we have to build moments, and a moment is being built with our people. And we have to create that energy, that belief, that enthusiasm to play every single action there, because the bonus, the confidence that gives you, there is nothing else that we can replicate that I can tell the players constantly to maintain that throughout the 95 minutes that the game is going to be played.
Okay, we'll now take some questions in Spanish, so have your headsets for the translation. We'll kick off with Juan from Moca.
¿Qué tal, Mikel? Se está hablando mucho del balón parado en esta eliminatoria. ¿Crees que puede ser, teniendo en cuenta que vosotros sois muy buenos en el balón parado y ellos quizás, el Real Madrid está encajando demasiados este año? ¿Crees que puede ser un elemento definitorio en esta eliminatoria?
En las eliminatorias de estas o te vas, el balón parado normalmente es el 33% de los goles que se marcan, con lo cual no para nosotros sino para todos suele ser definitorio y es un arma para nosotros, pero ellos también, porque por ejemplo contra la Valencia hicieron un gol a balón parado, encajaron uno y metieron uno.
También me gustaría que ponderaras un poco la figura de Carleto, que es una referencia, ¿no?, en los banquillos en la historia del fútbol. ¿Qué es para ti Ancelotti? Una inspiración. Yo creo que hay dos cosas con él. Creo que es el entrenador con una historia, con la historia probablemente más bonita de todos, porque ha sido capaz de hacer lo suyo grande, ganar, y aparte de una manera muy particular. Lo ha hecho en diferentes países y sobre todo lo ha hecho de una forma que yo creo que lo que inspira es con la tranquilidad, con la naturalidad y con la parte humana que ha sido capaz de trasladar a todo el mundo. Y eso en un entorno de tanta presión, de tanta exigencia, creo que es muy difícil y no hay más que oír hablar a la gente que ha trabajado con él, sobre todo los futbolistas, para entender lo que es él, que ha sido como entrenador, y lo que es como entrenador y lo que ha sido como persona.
Hola, Mikel, ¿qué tal? Nico Díaz Menéndez para Televisión Española. Quería preguntarte cómo preparas al equipo para la mística del Real Madrid en la Champions, si es que eso se puede preparar. Gracias.
Eso es parte de su historia, no de la nuestra. Nosotros tenemos que crear la nuestra, entendiendo cuáles son las calidades de nuestro oponente, que son muchas y lo han demostrado muchas veces, y enfocarnos sobre todo en cuáles son las nuestras y que les pueden hacer mucho daño a las debilidades que ellos tienen, que las tienen, y el partido irá por ahí.
Mikel, hola, Manuel Sánchez de la agencia EFE. El Madrid perdió el fin de semana contra el Valencia, se quitó al equipo, se quitó a jugadores como Vinicius. ¿Es más peligroso enfrentarse al Madrid en un momento así, en el que tienen que reivindicarse, en el que van a estar heridos?
Yo cuando analizo al Madrid al final lo analizo en el contexto que nos vamos a encontrar y cómo se suelen comportar cuando llegan estos momentos. Y lo demás no lo sabemos. Si nos beneficia, perfecto, será una cosa que nos ayude, pero como no lo podemos controlar, esperar siempre al mejor rival en las condiciones más difíciles y encararlo desde ese punto de vista. Y todo lo que venga después pues nos ayudará.
Hola Mikel, comentaba Mikel Merino hace estos días que si no eres el mejor, eres uno de los mejores entrenadores del mundo. En Inglaterra llevas construyendo el proyecto del Arsenal durante muchos años y se sabe de tu trayectoria y lo que estás haciendo. Quizá en España tu figura no es tan conocida. No sé si el tener menos o que seas menos mediático en España de cara a esta eliminatoria podría favorecerte en este caso.
Ojalá. Es normal, llevo 24 años en Inglaterra y en este país jugando y como entrenador, y es normal que eso ocurra, pero
pero si nos tiene que ayudar, pues que nos ayude.
Hola Mikel,
Hola.
mañana juega contra Madrid, que sabemos que han ganado la Champions League 15 veces. ¿Cómo se prepara el equipo, tanto mental como físicamente, para un partido de esta magnitud?
Primero con muchísima ilusión y con mucho convencimiento. Esto no va de creer que lo podemos hacer, esto es de estar convencidísimo de que lo vamos a hacer. Y darles argumentos para eso. Y que lo vean, que se lo sientan y luego a partir de mañana a las 8, momento de con nuestra gente, hacerlo.
Okay guys, that finishes the live section. We now go for 10:30 UK tonight. So we have just a couple of questions for English players here. So we'll go back to John first.
Hi, John.
I just wonder whether I could develop you on sort of kind of creating your own story. Basically, you've worked wonders with this club. There's no doubt about the Premier League. You've taken such great steps forward. Just what a statement it would be if you could overcome Madrid and go further. And is that statement needed to show that you're up there with the European big players?
Exactly, that's what we need. And to build a story, you have to go through hurdles, and we've gone through one, which was to be in the quarterfinals with this football club for a long time. We've done it twice in a row, and now we want much more, and we are capable of doing it, very capable of doing it. So I have full belief that we are prepared to do it, and tomorrow night I want the team and everybody that comes to that stadium feeling the same way.
Whenever you talk to former Madrid players, they talk about a DNA of Madrid and just this invincibility, this inner belief. Just how important is it that you play the opponent rather than their history in a game like this?
Very important, because that's not something that we can interfere with, and as well, the more convinced we are, the more we feel it, the more we transmit that, the less we'll give them any opportunity to think that there is an opportunity to take against us. So that mindset is going to be very, very important.
Hi Mikel, I think I'm right in saying you only ever played one match against Real Madrid as a player. That was in December 2004.
Yeah.
Very unusual circumstances.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what happened and what you remember of that game?
Yeah, it was a threat of a terrorist attack, unfortunately, when it was 10-15 minutes to go, and we have to leave the stadium and play a few days later just those remaining 7, 8, 10 minutes of the game. Yeah, not a very pleasant experience.
But that sort of playing against them, being in the Bernabeu, you felt that to a degree?
Yeah, and I've been there as well watching games, so I know what it is. The focus is now how we're going to recreate what we want tomorrow night at the Emirates.
Jordan?
Mikel, how far away did this moment feel when you first came to Arsenal, when you first took the job? How far away was the Champions League quarter-final against Real Madrid?
Well, we were very far for qualifying for the Champions League even, so forget about playing a quarterfinals twice in 15 years, but that's merit to the club, you know, how they have made a lot of good decisions, and a lot of people have been involved in dragging that boat as fast as we possibly could to be in this stage, and now everybody has been very still unsatisfied because we want much more.
And just the pride that you have, you say it's one of your biggest nights in management. What will you be thinking when you're standing on that touchline before kick-off and you see the fans and you see Real Madrid on the pitch?
That I love to compete against the best. I love to be challenged against the best, and we're in the competition that it has something very, very special that we don't have any history of winning it as well as a football club. So the hunger, the desire, I mean, nobody can have more hunger and desire than us. It's impossible.
And finally, we'll go to Issa.
Hi Mikel, of your last 10 Champions League games, you've only lost once, whilst Real Madrid lost 4 of the last 12. Does that give you some confidence, and why have you guys done so well in Europe compared to maybe domestically? What are the reasons behind that?
Well, the reason I'm convinced is because our team has given us the reasons to believe in them, and a lot of arguments to think that we can beat any opposition. And now you have to do it when the context changes, whether it is this stage, whether it is a home or away, to deliver. And that's what we have to do. Not talk too much about it, have that belief and that confidence, individually and collectively, that we are more than prepared to do it, and then it's about doing it.
But specifically, why do you think you've done so well in Europe? For example, against Sporting Lisbon away, against PSV away, you've scored tons of goals, some great performances this season.
Yeah, we play PSG here. We have played some big games in the Premier League. I mean, you don't face much more competition than you do in the Premier League normally, even if it's in Europe. And the team has been so consistent. So now it's about making it happen in these stages when it's needed, and that's what we have to deliver.
Okay, thanks everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.